Legendary Godzilla. The Godzilla that God knows how many times I've done on this channel with the same intro, but is the king of the monsters with his reign undefeated to this day. And Monster X, the Zillion's last and ultimate weapon with his extremely skilled combat skills, putting up a good fight against Final Wars. Welcome people of the internet, and doing what we do best, we are going to put these two in a ring and see who will win and who will not. 3 rules we have for this battle is 1. This will be a strict one-on-one battle, so Godzilla can't summon his Titans or Mothra, and Monster X cannot have Gigan assist him. 2. Legendary will be strictly be in his base form, meaning that he is somewhere around his GVK state and at the beginning of the new empire, and Monster X cannot turn into Kaiser Ghidorah. 3. There will be of course no running, the fight only ending when one or more of the combatants are dead or unable to fight permanently. But I don't think these two will need to read the last rule. To determine who will win this battle, here's the stats we'll be going over. Size and weight, strength, durability, intelligence, battle intelligence, abilities, speed, agility, stamina, combat, weaponry, and adaptation. With all out of the way, let's begin. Size and weight. Legendary stands at 393 feet, 582 feet for his length, and weighs 99,634 tons. Monster X stands at 393 feet, has an unknown length, and weighs 66,000 tons. But judging off his tail, we can definitely say Legendary is way longer. Here's a size scale to one another for a visual to determine their sizes compared to each other. As you can see, Legendary Godzilla will be taking this category. Strength. Legendary, when running nearly full force at Scylla, had center flying, the Titan weighing 20,000 tons. He could also manhandle Kong and throw him around, who weighs 90,000 tons, by just his jaw, even though I think it's more reasonable to say 60,000 tons. But none of these feats can compare, considering that in Aftershock, in an extremely weakened state, he picked up the Muta Prime onto his back, the Prime weighing 135,000 tons. This was Godzilla in a very weakened state compared to his base form, having his dorsal plates shattered, deprived of radiation, and having gotten absolutely destroyed in the fight beforehand. So it's not too surprising to say that Legendary can likely pull off this feat much easier in his base form, if not exceeding the weight limit by a lot. Monster X has shown being able to knock over and lift up Final Wars Godzilla, who weighs 60,000 tons. Sadly for Monster X, due to him only having one film and one fight scene, we'll have to use Final Wars Godzilla's feats to give Monster X a chance. In the film, Final Wars was pretty easily able to overpower, throw, and destroy all of his opponents, extending in gears flying with only his tail, who weighs 60,000 metric tons. That's an equal amount of weight to Final Wars himself, and since he can only do that with his tail, he can likely do this much more effectively with his arms, mouth, and just physical strength. And Final Wars Godzilla does get much stronger as the movie goes on, meaning Monster X was battling the strongest Final Wars has ever been up to that point. In 6, Monster X can compete with Final Wars' strength, if not surpass. We can estimate a strength being around 80,000 to 100,000 metric tons. For Legendary, we can guess his strength being about 100,000 to 150,000 tons. And also to explain the difference between metric tons and US tons for my fellow Americans, a metric ton is equal to 1.1 US tons. So to make the strength equal in terms for comparison, Monster X would have an estimated strength of 88,000 to 110,000 tons. But Legendary still has a superior strength at the end of the day, giving him the win in this category. Durability. Legendary could withstand any form of military weapons unless it is a Damara, and as well endure attacks from the Muta Prime, who can literally displace tectonic plates. He could also withstand Scylla's limbs trying to stab Godzilla, which literally went unnoticed in Rome, being a very short blink and you'll miss a scene. These limbs previously able to devastate the nearby terrain, but his best showing of his feats being able to survive the Permian asteroid like nothing in a younger and debatably weaker form. Monster X isn't that half bad himself, taking Final Wars Godzilla's atomic breath, combined with his own beam's explosion that had just previously destroyed Gorath and endured all sorts of physical attacks. And of course, the descent of Gorath crashing into Earth. Granted, Final Wars did destroy it quite a bit when coming down, but Monster X did still survive being inside of Gorath and crashing down, showcasing similar durability to his Godzilla. But this doesn't go the same with the Legendary variant, having more and better feats of durability that grant him the edge in the end. Intelligence. The Monsterverse is known for its range of various titans, and it's sometimes hard to determine who is safe to keep alive for the people in the Monsterverse. Luckily, Legendary does this job for us. evaluating certain titans to determine if they're worth keeping around. For example, despite Amulek beating Behemoth in their fight, Godzilla didn't trust Amulek to do any good with this land, so chasing off was smarter and leave Behemoth to have this land. He also determines that certain humans need to go, such as poachers or humans like Apex, while keeping other cities and civilizations safe. He's also able to work in teams, like allying himself in the past with Mothra and other titans, but he does have an ego, a massive ego at that. This costs efficiency in battle and ends up wasting a lot of energy, but he does get pissed off pretty fast, so this wouldn't last too long, especially with Monster X. Speaking of him, now with Monster X. Nothing really special here other than knowing how to enter his Kaiser form when it is necessary, otherwise he only knew how to work with Gigan against Godzilla. So once again, Legendary takes the edge. Battle Intelligence. Both are excellent fighters, but who has a better strategy? As mentioned before, Legendary has a massive ego which makes him fight to just amuse himself. In the Battle of Hong Kong, he was fighting Kong just to have fun. If Kong dies, then Kong dies, he didn't really care. Godzilla wasn't going all out until round 3, where his ego got massively bruised along with his forehead, making him go absolute apeshit on Kong. But back to his fighting strategy, his ego affects it. But assuming he's fully serious, we'll be using his fighting method against Kong because of his similar stance to Monster X. Legendary uses his atomic breath in an attempt to burn Kong, being an effective weapon while only grazing his back. But when it got physical, Legendary quickly overpowered Kong and pinned him down, which he would likely follow the same method to Monster X. But this category isn't even close. Monster X can outdo Final Wars Godzilla, a martial artist, and not only physically overpower him, but just outskill him with insane combat speed, which is all from Battle Intelligence's strategy. Where he got this training, who knows, but the point remains that Monster X easily takes the category. Abilities. Legendary has Atomic Breath, Nuclear Pulse, Evolution, Symbiosis, Heightened Senses, Telepathy, Amphibious Gnosis, and Energy and DNA Absorption. Evolution and Symbiosis will not be very useful and void of help in the battle, but his Heightened Senses and Telepathy will be able to find Monster X and try and get a point across, but Monster X's aggression will likely not listen or obey to Godzilla. But his atomic weaponry will definitely come into play in this battle, being very useful weapons as shown in his battles. Monster X has levitation, anti-gravity beams, and energy draining. His levitation appears to not be very useful since he only used it to appear behind Final Wars, and considering he's a very battle-intelligent character, he would have likely used it in their fights. So this means it's kind of a one-time thing. But the anti-gravity beams will be a different story, being able to cause massive explosions when clashing against Godzilla's atomic breath. This leads to a near-perfect draw with their long-range attacks. But because of how strong and more used Legendary's atomic breath is, this grants him the edge and the win for this category. Speed. In King of the Monsters, it was said that he was running 300 miles per hour at Ghidorah, and in The New Empire, the novel said he went near subsonic when running at Scylla and Rome, estimating to be around 500 to 600 miles per hour. Monster X is just a bit faster than Final Wars, who's said to run at 92 miles per hour. It's an unofficial speed, but it's all we got. And because of Monster X having a better posture and lighter build, and shown to have a close edge in speed against Final Wars, he should run at 100 miles per hour. But with a much better estimation of their speeds, thanks to Kaidor, thank you, we can get them near to Mach 1. The reason for this is because of Rodan, who travels at Mach 3, and Final Wars Godzilla being able to run not as fast, but able to be comparable with his attacks and being able to catch up with them. This only makes it better for Monster X, having speed most likely near 767 miles per hour, easily beating Legendary in the category. If it was the evolved form, then we'd have a different story. Agility. In all of his battles since Hong Kong, Legendary could make quick 90-degree turns, even 180-degree turns, easily make fast attacks with whatever part of his body desired, like his tail and claws, outdoing fighters like Kong when it comes to skill and reaction speed. But Monster X's on-screen fighting easily outdoes his Godzilla. Both and therefore are able to make extremely fast turns, make fast attacks and hits, along with his speed boosting his attacks. He even makes the feat of jumping into the air and doing a 360-degree turn in just a second. This feat grants him the edge in the category. Stamina. Godzilla in Hong Kong lasted the entire fight fighting Kong, and was still able to keep going to fight Mechagodzilla. The only issue is he wasted about 50% of his radiation and energy, which severely weakened him in his fight against Mechagodzilla. This could mean if Monster X tired him out, then he would likely lose. But I don't think Monster X could last, since he himself hasn't shown any good feats, as he quickly got tired and weakened by Final Wars to the point he decided it wasn't worth risking it and entered his Kaiser form. So, Legendary takes the edge. Combat. Usually I'd go extremely in depth with this category, but Monster X does martial arts. I think that's enough said. Weaponry. Legendary's body is covered with sharp-ended weapons, like his dorsal plates that can be used to ram his back into opponents, being an extremely useful weapon along with his claws and sharp tail that can be used as a whip. His bite is also extremely strong, used to throw Kong easily and dislocate his arm in the process. Monster X has similar weapons, being strong claws and a whip-like tail that is used effectively in his fight against Final Wars in the battle. But once again, Legendary stands more equipped with his weaponry, covering him head to tail, giving him more weapons to use in the battle and gives him the edge in this category. Adaptation. Legendary Godzilla has excelled in adapting to the opponent since 2014, knowing that the Mutos would be weaker in a one-on-one confrontation, trying to dismember Ghidorah's heads and take away Kong's weapon. Monster X doesn't really adapt, but just outdid his Godzilla in their battle, not really learning to counter. He just outdid him. So the edge goes to Legendary. And now, with all of our categories covered, let's see who takes the overall. Legendary Godzilla will be taking size and weight, strength, durability, intelligence, abilities, stamina, weaponry, and adaptation. Monster X takes battle intelligence, speed, agility, and combat. With a score of 9-4, Legendary takes the overall. But because of the battle in question and how close it is despite the score, we've managed to put a pretty good match to showcase. Please subscribe, this took forever because I had to make this when CapCut was banned. But anyway, let's roll the fights, and then you can have our winner. Enjoy. And as you can see, everyone, we can comfortably say that our winner, ladies and gentlemen, for this debate is the King of the Monsters, Legendary Godzilla. But this fight is much closer than the categories say. Because of Monster X's presence, Legendary would go after him when detecting him with his heightened senses, and when seeing this monster had no intention to bow, he was ready to engage in battle. Because of Monster X's superior fighting skill, speed, and agility all combined, he would outdo him easily and start throwing some punches until Godzilla uses his superior mass and strength to throw him off, then use his ranged weapon when there was room between them. But Monster X would respond with his own attacks, catching Legendary off guard and making him pissed off when it actually does some damage to him, deciding to finish the battle right there and then with his atomic breath to make an explosion, and then got physical with Monster X. Similar to how Final Wars had Monster X down on the ground, except there was no way Monster X could get up until Legendary broke his face, giving him the win in the end. If you disagree, that's all good, as this is just my opinion and you're free to have your own. Plus, there's plenty of room for debate. If you like this video, or even if you disagree with this outcome, be sure to watch my other videos I make and give a chance to the other Versus content. And of course, please subscribe. Our next video will be us pondering the question, what if? Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.